Robbie tried to tease me before, like 5 minutes before I logged on. I was like, why do you do this to me?
What did he do, Snippins?
You look like a cat that was caught like chewing on toilet paper the way you looked up. She was not expecting a follow-up.
No. He
Like,
kept
huh?
touching my.
Okay, okay.
I
Can we
hate when that
not?
happens to me.
Can we use another word?
Why?
Your fanny.
No.
Yeah, right.
I'm here with Snippins, well, Venus, or Precious Boo Boo, and
That's
today we're
me.
talking when animals attack with friends
What?
who love to give each other, with friends who love to give each other the business. Snippins. That's the name of the show. Is that when animals attack?
I almost got eaten by a tiger once.
What happens?
Ow.
In my junior high, the zoo came to our school, and I got there late, and I ran in to, it's like an assembly, I guess, and I had to sit on the edge, and they had wild cats on leashes, and they were walking around because we were all like sitting on the floor in a big square, and they would just walk these cats around, I don't know, cheetahs and stuff like that, and they had this giant tiger. It was, I didn't know tigers were that big, and I'm just sitting there, and this tiger is walking by me, and it's staring at me, and then it stops and it turns around and just stares me down. And the guy's just like tugging on the chain, and I'm like, this fucking cat's gonna eat me.
And then what happened?
I guess he yanked the chain enough to distract it and then walked away.
Mm.
But it was a tense few seconds.
But you were staring at a wild animal in its eyes, which is never a good idea, Snippins. That's that you're challenging it for
I
dominance.
was sitting there minding my own business, and this cat just,
Did it slowly blink at you, which means I love you in domestic kitty cat language?
I don't think so. I think it was
I
just
do.
staring at me.
I wonder if tigers have that. Do they do the slow blink?
I don't think.
But it
Well,
was so close to me. Like it would, they would never do that these days.
I'm sorry. What does these days have to do with that?
Well, they would never have a giant tiger just walking around. There was nothing in between me and the tiger.
Oh, you're saying as
Just
far as
walked this tiger around this big group of kids, and because I got there late, I had to sit on the edge. Now, I don't think they would do that now.
all right.
Have I told my cat attack story? Like, not my pet cat, but when I was a child, a cat ripped half my face off story.
Oh no, you didn't tell me that. What happened?
Oh, when I was a child, a cat ripped half my face off. The end. No, there was a neighborhood cat, or a neighbor, our direct neighbor's cat, and they just let it wander around because they were very trashy. And I saw the cat, and I was like, "Oh, hey, little kitty!" And me, a little kid, I picked the cat up, like picked it up, looking at it, and I was holding it in front of me, and the cat fucking shredded me, just like ginsued my face. And I just remember standing there and then just seeing blood everywhere and screaming. And my family ran outside. They took me to the doctors, where they strapped me down to something that was called the Indian board, which I'm sure they've renamed it since. But it's like this board that would have all these straps across it. So they strapped me to it, and then they proceed to stitch me up as I screamed my head off, basically the whole time.
So did you grab a cat probably too tight, and then the cat?
No, I wasn't hurting. I wasn't like Lennying it, like gonna pet it to death. I just happened to pick it up, hold it in front of me, and it was one of those cats who, first of all, didn't fucking know me.
Mhm.
You know, I was like some strange kid grabbing it, and then also it was probably fairly violent because it was just like a mean outdoor cat. So it lit
Oh,
me the fuck up because I held it too close to my face.
It was a hood cat.
Yeah,
when I worked at the animal hospital, a vet tech picked up a cat, and you know how cats can turn their heads all the way like The Exorcist? It
yeah.
turned all the way around and bit him through the thumb, through his nail, and right through his thumb all the way through. And they had to give him the shots because the rabies information was not on the cat.
Yeah.
And then they cut that cat's head off and sent it to Washington because they have to examine its brain. That's the only way they said they knew if it had rabies. It didn't have rabies, but then they had to explain to the owner that they chopped his cat's head off.
That seems like an archaic practice.
Well, you can't ask it if it has rabies. I mean, you would think there might be a blood test, but if rabies gets into the brain and makes the brain all crazy, the only way is to examine the brain. You can't do that while it's alive. You have to chop the head off. Send the head.
The yak tried to eat me one time back in the early 80s. In the early 80s. There was a shopping mall, like a mall from the 80s.
Mhm.
And there was like a bunch of like farm animals in there, like for you to walk around and look at.
You mean a petting zoo?
And I was there with my dad. Kinda, except I wouldn't know why anybody would pet a yak. Anyway, my dad's like, go stand in front of that yak. And so you could like take a picture. And I'm standing there and I had like straw, like golden straw hair when I was a little kid. And this, yeah, I just feel like these teeth scrape my head and it just grabs a hold of my hair and like tries to pick me up by my hair. And I am screeching. My dad had to come free me from this yak.
Have you ever been to the Vegas Zoo, Ramon, when you were here?
No,
You didn't take a sweetie or anything?
no.
It's the worst. It's like one of those like dark zoos that somebody would make like a YouTube video about. Like they're just everything looks underfed and sad and alone, like in their cages. They had an ostrich that took a few dives at me. Like when you tried to take a picture in front of it, it's just big beaked head is coming down on me. But he didn't get to me, so it doesn't technically constitute an animal attack video.
Well, it's still an attack. He didn't. He wasn't successful. but,
Unsuccessful attack.
it's still an attack.
It's pretty scary. I'm kind of still a little uncomfortable with them now, ostriches.
It's not their beaks you have to worry about.
It's the neck. Do they do that neck thing?
No, it's their toes.
Oh, that's scary sounding too, because they look like dinosaurs.
Yeah, they can like gut you open with their toe.
Well, it was behind a fence, so I think all it would have gotten to me with was its beak. But have you ever seen the giraffes fighting? How they fight?
Yeah, with their necks. They run their
Yeah,
neck.
just wow.
It would seem like it'd be very disorienting if you're that tall.
Probably. Yeah. Well, and the whiplash of their head, they must be like knocking themselves loopy each time too. Dumb bastards.
Yeah, they're horrifying creatures. And their tongues are all purple,
Ugh.
and they're not delicious. Like if you're gonna be an animal, be delicious. Like human beings, not delicious. Like sharks, when they bite us, it's like they're trying to see what we are, and they're like, ew. Usually,
That's
they
kind of
don't-
a good point. Shark attacks are usually a couple of bites, and they're like not really eating us.
Yeah. they don't. We're not delicious as a species, apparently. Like I think the only thing that really liked eating us was probably the saber-toothed tiger, which is probably why it's extinct.
They nibbled on us because we have so much surface meat.
Robbie got bit in the face by a dog.
What happened to Robes?
He got bit in the face by a dog, and he's a scar on his chin.
You don't know the story of how it happened. You're just gonna.
He told me.
We can't,
Ah!
we can't hear him. You have to repeat what he says, Snippin.
Apparently, he was on LSD.
Yes. I was on and I was in a band with a friend,
And he was in a band with a friend.
and we were jamming.
And they were jamming.
And
As you
said
do.
Wait, did he do the bunny ears or did you?
He did. I was just
Okay.
relaying.
he had a really cute Dalmatian dog.
It was a Dalmatian dog.
He was like, "Whatever you do, don't touch the dog."
He's like, whatever you do, don't touch the dog.
So he left, and the dog came in and was being very cute. And so I pet the dog.
He touched the dog.
And as soon as I stopped petting the dog, I felt something hit me in the side of the face.
He stopped touching the dog and it bit him in the face.
And it bit through my cheek,
Oh, it went through your cheek?
and completely through my cheek, and took that chunk out of my
Because he
cheek.
has a scar on his chin, but I guess it bit like through his cheek and his.
So me and my friend were on acid in the bathroom,
So they were on acid still.
and I could put my finger through my cheek.
Oh, and he could put his finger through his cheek.
And then I was asking my friend Mark like what the white stuff was on my chin.
He was asking what the white stuff was in his chin.
And he was like, "That's
It's
your
like
bone,
that.
bro."
It was his bone. It was his jaw.
And then Mark started throwing up,
And then his friend threw up.
and then I had to go get stitches
And then he went and got
while I was
stitches
peeking on LSD.
while he was peeking on LSD.
That's brutal. The game of telephone that we just got out of that was very enlightening and hilarious.
I will say it was very for a game of telephone. It was oddly correct. Like it didn't.
She made it
change.
concise, but she lost a lot of the flair that Robbie was adding to the
Oh, yeah.
story.
Oh,
Like it was a cute dog. He touched the dog. And it was like the rhythm of him telling it and then you summarizing it.
Well, it was a very judgmental version of events. I would say is the only
Yeah.
Hmm.
his version and your version. So I can see that the honeymoon is over already with your.
No, it's still going on. I have big plans tonight to honeymoon all over the place. In fact, I washed the bedding yesterday and it got all fucked up last night.
You watched the what?
I washed the bedding yesterday and I was like, clean bedding. And then we fucked it all up. It's all kinds of crusty now.
No. So I have tallied our votes, and feel free to write in the comments section who you think is never right in this episode.
Snippins
I
has
already
officially been
declared-
voted never right today.
That's kind of an animal attack. You're right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more content from the Never Right podcast.